welcome back to Making Waves. It's been, it feels like a long time since we've had our last episode, but call it our summer break. But anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Justin. I'm here along with the ShipRocked host, Chad. Chad, say hey.
Oh, hey.
There you go. Anyway, guys, thank you again for joining Making Waves. We are the ShipRocked podcast. We are part of the Sound Talent Media and Evergreen podcast family. So again, thank you for joining us. And tonight we have, two very special gentlemen. We have Briton and Seth from Wage Award. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
thank you for having us.
Yeah. Obviously, you guys are one of the bands that's going to be joining us here in 2023, and we'll get to that at some point. But right off the bat, you guys have been working nonstop this year. On the road, you come off this massive Slipknot tour, getting ready to head into another big one, working off the back of, I guess, the 2021 release, Manic. You taking time to get a breather in?
Yeah, I've been kicking my feet up as much as I can. I feel like we've been one of the busiest bands since, some of the COVID restrictions have been lifted. So we were hitting the road hard this last year.
Yeah. How did it feel being in those stages at this stage after COVID? I don't know if you've done Slipknot size arenas before this, so excuse me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine it's probably a consistent basis, a little weird to be around all of those amounts of people, even if you are in the band. But nonetheless, I'd love to hear how you felt after COVID and then going back out there and
that was our first arena run. So thank you, Slipknot, first of all, for taking us out on that. But fans were like so appreciative to like have live music back. It didn't matter like if you were into a band or not. Like it was just you could see the whole community come together and be like, yeah, we got our music back. So that was huge.
That's great. I love hearing
that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, just going off what Briton said, those were the first arenas we ever played. So, obviously the first couple shows were pretty nerve-wracking, pretty intimidating. Just stepping into like those massive arenas, way bigger than what we're used to. And the weirdest part about it was by the end of it, we played like 21, 22 shows, something like that. It felt like by the end of it, it was almost like normal in a weird way. The whole team, Slipknot band and crew and everybody they had working for them was very accommodating and made us just feel super welcome and comfortable out there on the road. So like by the last week of the tour, we were like, all right, let's get it. Let's rip another arena gig, and it just kind of felt normal, which was so strange because it was so scary at first.
It's interesting when you do feel that you're a little intimidated at first, but you're 10 shows in and you're like you said, it starts to feel somewhat normal. I think at that point you realize, we're ready to do this. We're ready to go to these bigger rooms. We're ready to do these. I mean, you guys have been doing the festival circuit, so you're looking at 20, 30,000 at time, but every night when you're looking at that, it's a little daunting. Plus, you have the task of trying to open up for one of the better live bands of the last probably 10 years, right?
Yep.
But you guys took full advantage because today you guys dropped the live video for Godspeed. So congrats on that. It looked like you guys utilized your time with the arena shows very well with the video. Tell us about the process and what was the decision to make a live one instead of a more kind of like narrative-based video?
I think we've never done a video really like that. I think we took a stab at one back in the day. I think Bryce did it, didn't he, Seth?
For our first album, we had a song called Blueprints Bryce worked on.
Yeah. So it's something we haven't done in a long time, and we had a photo video person out with us that was absolutely awesome, and she took advantage of all these big gigs and put something together special.
Yeah, I tell you what, as a fan and as someone who just enjoys the live video aspect of things, I love the kind of like we can always hark back to the Bon Jovi Scorpion backstage pieces that fit in with the live action. We always love that because you're giving your fans like a look back into what's really going on back there. That's always a lot of fun to me. But congratulations on getting that down.
Thank you.
We're stoked for you guys like that. But you guys have another tour coming up here with 3 Days Grace. When you go on these tours, is we all know a lot of times it's agents or managers talking. Are you friends with a lot of these guys and bands? And is there talking like, hey, come on the road with us? I think it'd be a good idea. And then you just finally get to a point where you do it, or?
I'd say it just depends on the band, really.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of bands that we've made friends with, whether it be, you know, through mutual friends or just online, or maybe at festivals we've run into each other and hung out for a night or something. But when it comes to bands like Slipknot and 3 Days Grace, you know, some of those guys we haven't really run into. So, you know, some of these tours you got to give a big shout out to the team and, you know, management and booking agents who kind of make those connections for us. But then, you know, of course, there's other times where, you know, we were good friends with Beartooth, and we had never even really we had never toured with them, only played a handful of shows, hung out a couple of times, you know, but just after those couple of times, you could kind of tell like, hey, I think we get along pretty well and we should tour together, you know? And that was one of my favorite tours we ever did, was running out with Beartooth. So it just depends on the band, and, you know, if you've run into them or made any connections along the way, and just kind of see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
We definitely like to hang out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those dudes are great for the hang. They're cool dudes. You know, being Midwest dudes too, they have like a different sense of, you know, even if as large as they get, they're still from Columbus, Ohio, right? So the idea is like, you know, you can't get yourself too far away from High Street, I suppose. You guys are starting that that 3 Days Grace tour here, July 18th? I'm from Detroit. I'm here right now, and I think I just looked, and your tour starts here at the Fillmore, just down the street from me.
Yeah, it does. I think it's the 18th. I think we leave the 15th. We have some rehearsals leading up to that, just to knock the rest off, and then we'll be headed up that way. And
correct me if I'm wrong, and Justin, sorry if I'm stepping on your toes here, but after that, you guys do your own headlining tour. Would be your first time in the Europe and UK, right? Is that like? That'd be our second one, right, Britt?
Yeah. We did a pretty. What was it? I think it was like 3 weeks. The last one we did. It was kind of a short run, but still, hit some select dates in Europe and hit the UK pretty hard.
Yeah, and that was actually our last. One of our last tours before the pandemic. So it was our last European tour. So that's talking about, you know, way back in 2019. And then we haven't been back since. So this will be a great comeback story for us, and hitting some bigger rooms and more cities in Europe than we've ever done before. So as a headliner, at least. And we're excited for it. Yeah, it's going to be great.
That's awesome. There ever that time when you're sitting there, is like, hey, we're an American band. How do they know about us in Hungary? Is there ever that kind of like, how in the hell do these people know about us? How do 4,000 people know about us in this city? Is there ever that point? I mean, obviously you get to a certain stature in the metal magazines and radio and TV and the internet's global, but you still kind of got to go, how the fuck do all these people know about us? We're just this band from Florida.
I think that's just the power of the internet sometimes, even though the internet sucks, but yeah, it's definitely got our name out there, so I can't hate it too much.
That's
no. Yeah, there you go.
So you guys, internet sucks.
So Manic came out at the tail end of 2021. Is it, and with you guys, all the amount of shows you put in since the record came out, does it ever feel like sometimes like, man, we should, I feel like this album's like 10 years old, we need to start working on new material, or does it still feel very fresh?
I think I'm starting to hitting that line of like, okay, I'm ready to work on some new stuff again. And I think I think it's because we've been touring so hard on this new stuff. So
it's gotta be. Yeah. I mean, we just got done. Britain said it earlier, but I think we probably are the busiest band since the lifted COVID restrictions. Because back in October 2021, we came back with Beartooth, did a tour. A couple festivals before the holidays, came back, did Falling in Reverse, had just a little bit of time off. Then we did Slipknot and our headliner back to back. That alone was 11 weeks in a row. Now we're about to go out with 3 Days Grace. It's just been nonstop. And of course, we're pushing the new record. So like he said, I mean, I think we're just now probably starting to get to the point where it's like, it kind of does feel like the album's been out for a while, even though it hasn't even been out for a year yet. It's kind of weird, but we've just been pushing so hard on touring so much. We
Well,
definitely have had talks about, all right, when are we going to start the next record here and start working on it, you know?
The thing is, you say that, but the label's like, wait a minute, we just dropped the third single kind of today. We have there's a lot of life still to go here. What brings up the question, we had Elias from Nonpoint on last show, and we were talking about the idea of like going forward, what the industry looks like, and a lot of bands, it's kind of becoming an EP thing. Hey, let's just drop an EP every year. It's instead of the full album. Are people really into full albums anymore? I mean, obviously, some of us are, hardcore. We want all 10 or 11 songs, but is that something you guys kick around too? Hey, maybe we'll just drop a single here just to keep things a little lively, drop something newer. Hey, let's put out an EP and that'll suffice. Or is it just like we have to lay down a full A and B side?
I think we've talked, about multiple options like that. We're definitely into like putting singles out there and, just getting as much content as we can. But I would say probably at the end of the day, we're a little bit old fashioned and like that, 12 to 13 song record. So yeah, it just depends, I feel like the music industry is definitely changing when it comes to like, albums and EPs and singles. But we're just riding the wave right now and see where it goes.
Yeah. Some of those bands are even putting out, a single at a time, like a single every month or two. And then after, a year and a half passes, just drop them all and call it an album,
Yeah, I think Memphis May Fire just did that, didn't they?
They did, yeah. And it's a cool idea. It keeps, keeps people paying attention to what you're doing. And then as soon as you drop that album, a month later, put another single out for the next one. It's just kind of an interesting thought. And there's definitely bands out there doing it. So I wouldn't be opposed to explore that for sure.
Yeah, it kind of brings back the old Sub Pop single. Sub Pop used to have that single of the month club.
Yeah, the single club.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite success stories with that model is Bishop Briggs. Are you familiar with her? Run me like a river. Okay, well, anyways, this girl, Bishop Briggs, she put out like a few singles, right? And compiled that on an EP, put out a couple more singles, made another EP, cut out about 4 of those songs, put them on a record, and added 3 new songs over the course of so she really put out over the course of 3.5 years. And from that, she went from like the single crushing single, made it onto like all the Tonight shows, all that stuff. So then she had momentum for the EP, blah, blah, blah. So you can see it work in like these. If you're using the tools that are available without all of the other things like late night TV and shit, you can really see it work. But then again, are you a band that's putting a cohesive body of work together, and that your fans? She was a brand new artist, right? You guys have been doing this since 2010. You have a fan base. Regardless if you're playing the late night show or not, they're probably expecting a certain sort of pedigree from you. With that being said, I think that you're at a great home with Fearless and all of that to really experiment, just because of the idea of what's behind the wall there. They have the infrastructure to kind of take the risks and see what's going on. Not to get nerdy in music industry talk, but I think it's cool to see you guys win. I used to be in a band called Wilson. I sang in it for years, and I think we played with you guys in 2013, but you might have been called Empire. Or were you called a different band name back then?
We were called Empires.
Yeah, Empires. That's right. And so like when I got the confirmation that you guys were playing it, I was looking at all the bands. I'm like, which one? I've been listening to them, and I look back and I was like, I know those guys. We played in Florida with you like back in the day. But to see
where was that? Do you remember where that was?
Yeah, it was like Panhandle, not Jacksonville, but what's that little Pensacola?
Wow.
Not Jack Rabbits. That's in somewhere else way down. A small club.
Okay.
I think it might have even been like Shai Hulad. Chad's band when he sang in it. We were touring.
Okay. Yeah. Dang, what a small world. That's awesome.
Crazy. I had a big beard back then. But regardless of all of that, I think that you guys are set up to kind of like, if that worked for you, and it clearly did, and it's continuing to work for you guys. It went from Wage War playing tiny clubs now to Wage War playing arenas to headlining and doing your own like clubs and theater size shows. I mean, you could probably experiment. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the label, but you could probably experiment and still have the same exact, if not better, results as the constant, consistent album.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean that's what we hope for. We hope for the ability to kind of keep doing what we're doing, but keep pushing the envelope and exploring our sound and, trying new things and not getting stale,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the chat was talking about, the idea of fearless. Fearless is great in the sense of like Sumerian and Roadrunner to a point, and Nuclear Blast. Independents are very fleet-footed, but also run like a major. And a lot of times they work with majors, but they have that added sense of like, hey, go do what the fuck you want. Let's see how it works.
Yeah.
You're not beholden like you would be to whatever the corporate structure would be at a Columbia or a Warner Brothers or anything of that nature. So speaking of, you guys are 4 albums deep into Wage War. Is there ever, do you guys kind of get the thing where you're going to go, should we stay the course, put out the sound that our fans like, that we like playing? Or is there a time where like, hey, is it time to kind of throw a little wrench into the works here and see what we can kind of get away with experimental wise, or maybe do a little bit of a little swerve, or right now, is it just like, we're going to keep hammering away like Iron Maiden, man? We're going to fucking keep this lineage going.
I think we love to experiment. I feel like when we get into writing mode, I know Cody and Seth are a big part in our writing process, and they love experimenting with like different chorus ideas and stuff like that. But I do think at the end of the day, we do like to like not stray too far away from our identity. I mean, we're a heavy metal band at heart, and I don't want to put out a record that people listen to it and they don't even know, like, is that Wage War? I want them to be like, oh, this is different, but I can still tell it's Wage War a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think we always want a fresh sound with every cycle, if we can make it happen, but without like abandoning our roots and who we are and the riffs and the breakdowns and heavy parts, but kind of just, spice it up, make it different, make it new, make it fresh. And yeah, just push ourselves creatively. I mean, Cody is definitely our main writer, and he's, sometimes he'll bring something to the table that I have just never heard before. And like he did that with our song Manic, Manic on our latest record, which it's the title track for the album Manic. And I remember getting the first version of that sent to us in a text message, and I was just like, Cody, what have you done? what have you done?
Hell is this?
But,
what do you mean? What have I done? What's wrong?
No, yeah, but it was like a good what have you done? It was
just
like a dang, I haven't really heard anything like this, and this is really cool and unique. And so I mean, that's just one example of something very different for our band, but we kind of pushed it out there, took the risk, said, well, they might hate this, they might not. Ended up being like the title track with the high budget music video on the record and whatnot. And it went over really well. So I think when you have a success story like that on what was sort of a risk on the album, it definitely encourages you to reach out there again and see what else you can come up with that's kind of different for you.
Yeah.
With 4 studio albums, I mean, I don't know if Drew, I know Drew is a good friend of mine. He did he produced Manic with you guys, right?
Yeah.
Drew Folk?
Yeah. Wizard Blood for all intensive purposes. But
yes.
Drew. Have you done, with the 4 records now, have you done multiple records with Drew? Or have you experienced other producers, or and what's your kind of process going into that, especially going into a new record, knowing all of the foundation of the past 4?
So we did the record before this one called Pressure. We did the whole thing with Drew Folk, and on Manic we did like half of it with Drew Folk, and then we did the other half with Jeremy McKinnon and Andrew Wade back in Florida. And we kind of wanted to like do the more experimental and active rock kind of style songs with Drew, and then kind of do the more heavy metalcore stuff with Jeremy and Andrew. And I feel like that worked perfect. Our record definitely is a roller coaster of songs up and down and things being different. And I feel like working with those those 3 people really made the album come together and have different sides of it.
Do you feel like, so the record before that was like 2019, and that was also with Drew then? I would assume?
Yeah. Yes.
Excuse me for not remembering the title of the record that was before that, but I assume that wasn't with Drew.
No.
What was that situation like?
So Dead Weight was with Andrew Wade and Jeremy McKinnon.
Okay.
And that was our first record was also Andrew Wade, Jeremy McKinnon. So by the time we got to album 3, you know, we were like, well, let's, you know, explore and see, you know, if this will kind of bring a fresh sound to what we're doing, and, you know, experimented. And so we got Drew on the team for that record, and did a lot of really good things for our band. And for album 4, we're like, well, we really love, you know, the last record, Dead Weight and Pressure. What if we kind of split these teams of people up and bring, you know, Drew to half the record and do what he's really good at for those 6 songs, and then have, you know, Jeremy McKinnon and Andrew Wade work together for the other half of the album. And it just kind of created like what we all think is our most well-balanced record yet. And, you know, it does have songs like Godspeed, which we released today, which is, you know, we're hoping to push to radio, you know, and we've got songs like Death Roll, which is just an insane song all the way through with a crazy breakdown in it. So it's a really, like Briton said, roller coaster of an album. But working with those 2 different, you know, groups of people and producers, it did allow us to kind of balance out the record from, you know, the radio side to the more heavy metal side of our band.
Smart.
So to me, the song that epitomizes your sound when I listen to you guys is High Horse. That just, to me, that's the one that kind of hits me like that's Wage War. So, question I got asked, this most cliche question of all time, always. What did you guys grow up listening to? What formed you to the point where you decided this is the direction I'm going to take a band I'm in? What were the records growing up that you were listening to?
I've always loved like old school metal, like Pantera, Metallica. I really think the record that got me on, you know, the more heavy metal path was Ride the Lightning from Metallica. I remember putting that in for the first time and hearing the first track, Fight Fire with Fire, and I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Just hearing the double kick in the drums for the first time, and just like hearing those sick riffs. And, it was all over after that. I'm like, okay, I need to find more. So I found more bands like Pantera, Lamb of God, like kind of went down the rabbit hole.
When you heard Ride the Lightning and then heard Master a year or 2 later, what was your reaction to hearing that? Were you like, wow, they really upped their game, or production got much better?
Honestly, I think I like Ride the Lightning more. I think that's just because
blasphemy.
But it was more thrashy, and I think
sure. Yeah, it's raw. Yeah. It's raw as hell.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I grew up with. My dad was big into classic rock, so he dabbled a little bit with like Iron Maiden and stuff. So when I got into a CD collection, it kind of just opened my mind even more. So
yeah.
So yeah, that's how I kind of got going. Yeah.
Well, Seth, how about you, bud?
Yeah, I was gonna say my dad got me into guitar bands for sure, but it was more along the lines of like Boston and Kansas and even Queen, you know, some of those bands. And then I kind of discovered the heavier side of music through my brother, who was in like a local metal band back in the day. And he got me into, you know, some of the, at the time, local bands that would literally play shows at like my old church that I grew up in and everything. So I literally saw Under Oath and A Day to Remember and bands that came up in Central Florida, and watched them become, you know, what they are today after all that. So it was pretty inspiring, and kind of made me want to join a band. And I, you know, went on with Cody, but it all started listening to, you know, guitar solos by Boston and Kansas, and those types of bands got me into guitar music. And then I dove into metal after that.
Isn't it funny when you listen to like a band like Boston, then when you're still kind of like figuring out what music is and how the hell could I ever play that? And now you're an accomplished player and you go back to listen to it. Do you listen to it with much different ears? Like, wow, that's super interesting. You kind of break it apart now more of in a technical aspect, or you still just enjoy it like you did when you were, you know, a young kid and didn't know how to play just yet?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I definitely enjoy it like a kid because those are classics and it's nostalgic at this point, and it just takes me right back to that place, you know. Yeah. But at the same time, you know, after playing guitar for, I don't know, 15 years or so now, it's like when I'm hearing a guitar solo, I'm picturing it on the fretboard, you know what I mean? Like you can kind of just, so it's a little different than it used to be in that aspect, but it's all the same, man. It's all just good music, you know?
Yeah. I got to ask real quick, Chad, when Florida, when Florida, people talk about Florida and they think about music, they think Skinner initially, right? But then I created what is it with Florida and all these different scenes? You have the Tampa, like the death metal scene, and then you have like the Jacksonville thing, and now you guys from Ocala. What is it about Florida that keeps putting out these like quality hard rock and metal records? What is it? Is it just like as a reaction to the wonderful weather and just the pleasantry of the place, or what is it?
It's just that I'm
at a loss. Dude. Is it a Florida? Is there a Florida? I mean, I know there's a Florida man, but I don't know if how much angst is in that guy. Is it just what is it?
It's a guys. It's multiple people.
I'm just curious.
I think some people forget that Florida's like what, third or fourth most populated state in the U.S.
Sure.
So there's just a lot of something to do with it. Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of people here, man.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're right, but it's just, it always struck me so funny. It's like Florida's producing this stuff, and then we forget that Tom Petty's from Gainesville, and you realize there's this incredibly rich history of music down there.
Just to add to that, though, I mean, I really do believe that there is something to it when you see someone else from your area do what you want to do. It makes that dream seem a little more achievable.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but there's several instances where you'll see a band come up, and then a few years later, another band comes up out of that area, and I really do think like that, inspires people to see somebody make it from their hometown and even just home state. So you never know. Maybe there's other people like us that saw some heroes rise up from their state or from Florida or whatever, and they're like, hey, I could do that one day.
Yeah, it's attainable because the guy down the street did it.
Exactly.
With that said, welcome everyone on Facebook. We're on Facebook Live now, so please, everyone who's watching tonight and chiming in, please say hey to Seth and Briton from Wage War. If you have questions, please put them down the thread, and we will get to those while we continue our conversation.
Since we're here on the ShipRocked cruise, and we have everybody from ShipRocked that's tuning in right now with us, who was it that had never been on a cruise before? Was it Briton?
It was me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Seth, you have.
I actually don't know how to answer that. I've been on like a weird river cruise, but it's not like what we're doing on ShipRocked. So I'm going to go ahead and say I haven't been on like a real cruise ship cruise,
Okay. So I'll start with you, Briton, because he's got at least a little bit of the onboard thing. So have you been on a vessel before, like in the sea? Have you like walked onto a moving boat where you stood in that sea?
Yeah. I mean, I'm from Florida, so we do a lot of fishing. So I've done a lot of deep sea fishing, some fishing charters and things like that. It's always been fishing, so it'll be nice to just hang out.
I'm excited to learn maybe some fishing tips from you. But what I wanted to ask you, is there anything that I guess we're a little bit further out, but like soon as, for instance, when my old band got announced and we were going to do it for the first time ever, I'd never been on a ship either. Immediately for like months straight, I would just kept having these like crazy thoughts in my mind. Like, okay, so like, what do I need to make sure that I don't like puke or stand up straight? People would tell me stories. Do you have any worries to being on it, performing on a ship?
I think no, you're good. I think I'm going to bring some Dramamine and hope for the best.
Do you drink?
Because no, I don't.
Okay, the Dramamine for sure.
Yeah.
How about you, Seth? Do you have any worries, concerns?
I actually do a little bit, mainly because one time we took a ferry from somewhere to somewhere across the English Channel, England to like France or something like that, and it was not even like that long of a ride, maybe hour and a half or something, but I think I threw up 7 times. I got so seasick, and it was like very rough and stormy. But that always makes me scared of getting on a boat. So this time around, I'm definitely gonna be bringing the Dramamine, like Briton, for sure.
So if I can help you, and everybody's different. I thought the same thing, because before we had done the ship, I got like super fucked up on a little, but it's not the same. The boat doesn't move the same. It's pretty much a steady vessel. The only time you really acknowledge it is when you can see something in the background staying still while you're moving. With that being said, I was going to say one of the things you can count on is the fans on the ship. we'll make sure that whatever anxieties or uncomfortable feelings that you have immediately upon entering the ship, you're going to be welcomed with such warm arms and hearts. And people are very stoked about Wage War being on the ship, and we see it every day in the message board. And what I was going to ask you is if it's okay if we chime back in with you after the ship and see how your experience was in the first 2 days after the ship, which, Britain, I should probably say, those are the worst. The days on the ship aren't bad. Yeah. Sea legs for me have always, every single time, and I've done it 9 times, I think, at this point. So Dramamine for day 1 if you're playing a show, for sure.
It's like turning a very sturdy, large, modern hotel on its side. You really don't notice it unless the sea is kind of speaking to you that night. Otherwise, you don't realize you're on a boat, especially when you're playing and you're focused on that and the crowd. It just feels like you're just at another gig. But
I can imagine. Go ahead, Britt. Sorry.
No, please, by all means.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't talking.
My bad. Yeah, I was gonna say I can imagine. That's a way bigger boat than I've ever been on. So I know that makes a huge difference. And like you mentioned, like all the hangs, like you're going to be with all the boys and, running into people all night long. So it's probably going to be so many distractions that you don't even notice you're moving. Yeah.
Yeah. It's your typical festival, right? Yeah. You're running into people you hadn't seen in a year or two and you're like, oh, yeah, you're here.
Strength in numbers,
great.
Right? Like
plus we are going to,
somebody else is too.
Yeah. As people are pointing out, we are going to the Caribbean this year and not the Gulf of Mexico. It's much easier ride.
Yeah. I've heard that too. I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, if you have any questions for either Seth or Britain, please put them in the comments. If you guys saw them live recently, let's hear what your experience was checking them out. If you hadn't seen them before, or if you're a longtime fan, let's hear about it.
I got a question before we go to the fans is fan related. Do you have any like bucket list venues, locations, places that you just need to play or see? That you could only see, I should say, if you were in a band on tour.
I think Red Rock's definitely the first one that comes to mind. I'm sure it is for Seth too.
Yeah, we talk about it fairly often. We really want to play Red Rocks. Yeah, it's an awesome venue.
Every time I see a video of any band ever playing from there, I always say that in the back of my mind, I say that's got to be the most fucking magical feeling that you possibly could have. Like, whatever.
Have you seen the one Gojira played?
The recent one?
Is that the one with Opeth?
I
think so.
Yeah.
But every time I watch that, I'm like, this is the best band in the world.
Making a note of that because I only saw like their story that popped up in their page.
Oh, dude, it's so funny. It's so good.
I lived in Denver for a spell, and I saw one show at Red Rocks, and it was Sting. So you can imagine my experience wasn't quite up to par. Because if you ever seen the 1983 U2 show there during the war tour when it was pouring down rain and it just felt like
Bloody Sunday,
they were kind of like on another spiritual plane. That's where you kind of go, that's fucking Red Rocks.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool stuff. So if someone asked a question, gentlemen, and you can both answer this separately. And this is from Karen. She wants to know if you had $1 million in a casino and you had 1 hour to play, what are you playing? Because there's a casino on the boat.
Okay.
Probably.
If I have $1 million,
and you can't walk away from the table just because you have $1 million, you have to play it.
Dude, I'm going to the roulette and putting $1 million down on black and just riding.
So you're in and out of there in a minute, is what you're telling me. You're not going to space it out. 50 here, 100 there.
We're ripping the Band-Aid off, and we're going to see where we go with this thing.
Those are big tears, my friend. Big tears.
It could be, or you never know. Big win too. Britain literally took the words out of my mouth because every time we're in Vegas, we always walk over to a roulette table. We don't like waste our money, but we go there and we're like, all right, whatever you're gonna put down, whether it's a 20, a 50, or like 100. Nobody ever does more than like $100 bill. But we're going to the roulette table and we're putting it on black. We're all doing it together, the whole group, whoever's walking, the whole squad. And then if we all win, boom, best night ever. We all just won money. Like, let's party. If we all lose together. Everybody's sad together. but he stole my answer. We're absolutely betting that $1 million on black.
All right.
That's
Well,
awesome. I wish I would have thought about it. I used to do the same thing, but I would take $100 from our little like merch, like petty cash thing, and be like, all right, guys, if I win, we get a hotel tonight or something. If I lose, I will pay back that $100 at some point.
Hey, we have a shiprocker, Josh. He's probably a big fan. You guys seen you guys 10 times or more. Looking forward to seeing a ship. And he's getting way out ahead. He's putting the cart way in front of the horse here. He goes, well, will you guys be playing 2 different sets on board?
I don't know. We haven't really talked about it too much. So that's a great idea.
That's a very cool idea, but we have not even made one set list yet.
You just made 3,000 people sweat balls because they're going, shit, man. I saw the one set. If they just play it again, I can see the other band is playing at the same time. And now I got to fucking go over there and you just ruined their
that's
their
a good idea.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them. They're going to show up twice. Start with a different song, It's like they're playing a new song set, and then they're just like, "Hey, what's going to happen next?"
Caitlin wants to know what you guys have been doing with your off time. Any activities, hobbies, or just kind of laying low?
Lots of video games for sure.
Which one?
It's too hot outside. I play a lot of Super Smash Brothers. And then I get into the really nerdy side. I play a lot of World of Warcraft. So
there you go.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna add on to that because I just bought a Switch, a Nintendo Switch, so I can practice Mario Kart because I always get my butt kicked on tour. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy one of these things and I'm gonna start practicing. Britain actually just recently bought a Mario Kart wrestling belt. Like it's a big legit wrestling belt with like
WWE.
Yeah, WWE. Yeah. So it literally has like Mario Kart champion engraved into this big metal plate. So we're bringing that on the next tour. We're gonna have some tournaments, and whoever's the champ will take it home at the end of the tour.
Or either one of you guys
wear it on stage now.
That's right.
Right. Are either one of you guys air hockey guys? You guys play air hockey?
Yeah, air hockey's fun.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, but if I'm at Busters, I'll.
I'm playing for the belt on board. I'm playing you for the belt.
All right.
Oh, let's go.
Air hockey
I'm good at knocking the puck off the table and someone having to go get it every 5 seconds.
Justin's got just knuckles, no fingers, dude. It's just a second knuckle down. He's like, I'll play you.
I remember this bowling alley that I used to go to. They didn't have the little things, and people would just use their hands and slide it back and forth. I'd watch so many people just smash their fingers in there.
Fucking shit.
Jesus Christ, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Chad, where you want to do walk the plank? Guys, walk the plank is basically we ask you a random question, and it's whatever. It comes out of our minds. You just tell us whatever your answer is, first thing you think of.
Cool. Well, I'll start. My question is, and please both answer separately if you could. What's your favorite comfort food?
Ooh, hot wings.
Well, okay. Wait a second. That's a very generic. Is there a specific place, a type of flavor? What do we get for it?
I mean, there is a specific place, but it's not near me. It's in Detroit. So
okay, what's up? Is it Sweetwater?
It's a place called. Yes, it is.
Yes, right. That place is awesome.
That is with some Sweetwater.
That is some of the best wings I've ever had, and I think about them all the time.
And they think about you. I talked to them yesterday. They were like, hey, "You doing the wage war guys on the podcast? Tell them I missed something." So just give me a little word. I'll bring you something for the show, man. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Well, if I don't show up, you should kick my ass on the ship for sure.
Make you walk the plank.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Seth?
I spit out the words fried chicken, so I wasn't far off. But I was kind of thinking along the realm of, Zaxby's, Cane's, Chick-fil-A. Like that's comfort food for sure. That's good stuff.
Agreed. Both of those are fucking solid answers.
All right. I'm going to hold off on my question, but Caitlin wants to know, do you guys have any musical guilty pleasures? It could be pop. It could be Demi Lovato. It could be anything. Do you guys have anything that people might go, holy shit, they listen to that?
Dude, I get on like weird streaks of things. Like yesterday, I had this weird thing of I wanted to listen to Hootie and the Blowfish. So
fuck yeah.
I just get in weird moods.
Dude, Darius Rucker's a badass motherfucker. There's no shame in that.
I don't know why that got me, but it did.
It's just, dude. What really gets me is some of those lyrics in that song where he's talking about I'm such a baby, the dolphins made me cry. Dude,
oh yeah, that was the worst, dude. That one, the video with Marino.
Yeah, dude.
You got to walk that back, dude. You got to walk that back, both of you. Bad.
Well, I was thinking about Bare Naked Ladies when you were saying the $1 million thing earlier. I was like, are you?
Yeah.
So if you had $1 million, I was like, oh man, I hope he drops some fucking Bare Naked Ladies fucking lyrics right now. But you redeemed yourself, dude. Hootie and the Blowfish. That's great.
Wow.
Seth, what are you listening to that you shouldn't be?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I could throw anything into this list nowadays, but I used to listen to like a lot of Taylor Swift. I was like pretty obsessed for a while there. But I don't really jam it as much as I used to. I'm trying to think.
I've got to unpack this. Okay, Taylor Swift. What is it's why?
Fuck. Fuck hard. Like some of the songs are fuck hard.
I'll say.
Are they good? I don't know, dude. I just know she's always breaking up with dudes. That's all I know about her.
I'll say this: the two albums, 1989 and Reputation, were absolute heaters, and that's what got me on my kick. And then I kind of fell off since Reputation. But
1989 though,
he just said heaters for
they're
Taylor
absolute
Swift.
heaters.
All right, bro. What was the big song that was something about the kiss or some kiss or something that was on the radio? You couldn't get. What the fuck was it? Chad, you know her fucking stuff.
I mean, every song I think says something about a kiss. Are you referring to like off of those records or recently? I'm pulling it up to make sure.
Off of like what's her like? I mean, what that would have been 2018 that she was like dropped that one and they couldn't get the fucking. If anyone out there in Facebook land knows that big song by her.
Love?
No, it wasn't Love. Shit. We'll just get back to it. Someone will chime in. There's probably a bunch of Taylor Swift fans out there that are now going to admit it because Seth admitted it. And it's all out in the open, man.
It's out there.
Yeah. So my question is this to you guys. If you had to change one thing about the way you look, you're both incredibly handsome gentlemen, by the way. If you had to change one thing, what would it be?
Dude, I'd probably downsize the size of my hands, dude. They're just not proportionate to my body. They're too big.
I've been, but you know what?
They're huge, dude. They're just massive.
Put them next to your head.
Dude, that's how you got the scholarship to DePaul. What are you talking about?
Dude, I'm 5'11" and I can palm a basketball like LeBron James. It's crazy.
I'll tell you, man. You and Spud Webb.
You can absolutely grip a basketball or a football or whatever. So you got the advantage there. Yeah, Britton and I will put hands up together and like this is me and like this is Britton. It's like I don't think I have small hands.
Dude, this is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, just an absolute power move. Just show me how small I am.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Seth, what would you change besides the size of your hands to make them bigger?
So you know what? That's good. But besides that, I would. I've been told a couple times I've got like kind of pointy ears. You know.
Oh,
I'm gonna make it look even pointier for the camera. Maybe
live long and prosper, dude. Live long and prosper.
Maybe I'm like part elf. I'm not sure, but maybe I'd make them a little less pointy, a little less freakish. I don't know.
My precious.
Everybody's gonna be looking at your ears the whole time.
I just outed myself. Do I have pointy ears? I can't really tell.
No,
I'm sure
they're you know what they are? They're angular.
I'm gonna start doing the Rob Deer deck and tucking.
Don't do that.
So nobody
hears. Don't do what that guy's doing. Don't
Everyone's
do
gonna start trying to shake my hand on the ship. I gotta check these hands up.
Shake
you sign this basketball for my kid.
Yeah.
These hands ain't that big.
Can you play a 12-string guitar?
Can I ask a question from a fellow ShipRocker to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we do this thing at the end of Walk the Plank where we ask our guests a question from the week's previous guests who have asked, not knowing who you are. So it's just they're asking a question without knowing who we're going to interview. And then you'll get to do the same and carry it on to the next guest. So, and I get to tell you who it's from, but he didn't get to know who he was asking. So in this situation, it was Elias from Nonpoint, the singer of Nonpoint. and he was asking, have you ever seen an alien spacecraft while on tour?
I don't think so. But I have seen some weird stuff here in Florida by myself, Drive.
Take it. Mark it down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no as well. I've seen some wild like videos, and I've seen even like what I think are probably just meteorites or whatever, like that were really close to us, you know, that like just were super vibrant and crazy to see. But I'm not gonna say that was an alien spaceship because you know there's no way to confirm. But that doesn't mean actually it could be something crazy out there. You never know.
Actually, does this count? Like I remember driving through California in like 2016 in the van, and Elon Musk was doing something with SpaceX that night, like up in the air, and I was like, guys, wake up, look at this, and it like everyone was looking at it, and it was one of the SpaceX rockets like going up.
Oh yeah, I mean that technically is a spaceship, but
yeah,
I guess it's not alien. I don't know.
I think we're stretching it a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll give you points. You saw it, man. You were actually awake because most people are asleep during that shit. He's like, I'm not waking up at 3 in the morning to watch this shit. Come on,
true.
man.
Well, it was my shift to drive, and everyone was sleeping, but I'm like yelling, I'm like, guys, wake up.
Yeah.
Hey, last question. Terrell wants to know. Oh, by the way, the song I was singing about, "Last Kiss" by Taylor Swift.
True.
Thanks, Karen. You are now welcome to the Hall of Shame for knowing that. Anyway, do you have any new bands you guys are listening to a lot?
I do. A band called Churches, and they've been around for a while, but their last couple albums, their most recent one especially, I've been listening to a lot. And it was like 2 days after we got home from tour. We had been on the road for 11 weeks. I got home, and 2 days later I went to see Churches play at the House of Blues in Orlando. I didn't think I would want to go to a concert anytime soon, but when I saw they're in town, I'm like, oh man, gotta go. So yeah, I'm pretty into them right now. They're really cool.
Great band.
Britain?
I'm trying to think of anything that's like brand new. I'm trying to think.
Doesn't even have to be brand new, dude. It could be a band you just discovered from 1974.
I mean, I've been listening to a lot of Behemoth lately. I've been on like a black metal kick. So
yeah,
there you go.
Fucking rips, dude.
Yeah. Me and Seth saw them with Napalm Death, and what was the other band?
Enemy.
Arch Enemy. So I've just been on like a crazy like just power metal kick.
Yeah,
that was an awesome lineup.
Old Negro, man, doing it. Yeah, he's awesome, man. Interesting character. He's an interesting dude. Absolutely.
Sleep Token. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of them.
Yeah, they're going out pretty. I think I just saw something. They're going out with your former band tour mates in this moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
I've been jamming them a lot. They're pretty new.
Last question, and then we'll kind of get to our thing where we kind of sign off. And I'm interested in this. One band in history, doesn't matter who it is. Who would you have liked to go on the road with?
In history?
Sure.
I would love to have played that Moscow show with Metallica in 1991.
Yeah, that wouldn't have sucked.
Yeah.
Really weird.
That was like what? I think it was like the third or fourth biggest show, like I think in the world ever.
That was
wasn't it Metallica and Pantera and a local Russian band or something?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was AC/DC, Metallica, Pantera, and I think it was God, what was the other band? It was one that was really out of the box. I can't remember. Black Crowes. That's what it was.
Is that right? Dude, I kid you not. We watch that live video every single tour. At some point, we will turn that on in the bus and just blast it and watch the whole video. It is so inspiring. So cool.
Yeah, they come out to Enter Sandman, dude. It's just everyone on the bus is just going.
It's
I remember that Black tour coming out, and you're just kind of like, at the time, again, like, but Enter Sandman, like, it's almost like paranoid. Like, I really don't need to hear it anymore. I kind of got it.
Yeah.
You know, we're okay if we don't hear that song again. But of course, they're going to play it because there's you know, the people who came, Johnny came lately to the party, and that's what they know of Metallica. So I'm not going to knock them. At least they're listening to Metallica. So
before we go, you guys got a question for our next guest?
Yes.
So,
gosh. Yes.
I got one.
Okay.
Does that have to be music? Does that have to be music related?
No. In fact, even better if it's not.
Seth, you're gonna like this one. Is there more wheels or doors in the world?
Oh, that's a great.
Okay, that's good. Okay,
great.
That's probably my favorite. Literally, that anybody's asked anybody else.
Yeah.
You've heard that conversation, right?
No.
Chad, dude,
No.
I'm gonna tell you really think hard about this tonight, Justin and Chad. Whether or not there are more doors or more wheels in the world. Think about the room you're in right now. All right. Think about your driveway. Think about your whole house, your car, bicycles, roller skates. Think about it. It's a huge question.
I smoke a lot of weed. This might keep me up all night long.
It's a serious question.
This is great. I love it. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, is there an answer to it? Or is it just all speculation?
It's a global debate right now, and I'm going to say it's all speculation until somebody actually does the math. But it's a crazy loaded question.
Yeah. Is this from like 1 BC? Like the amount of doors and wheels since then, or just right now, currently?
I would say currently, right?
Currently, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, currently.
I was going to say because if we started 1 BC, I mean they didn't really create the wheel until 1,000 years later.
True.
There's always doors. There's always caves to go into. Anyway, guys, listen, we've had you for an hour. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you. Thank you for everyone who's been paying attention, who offered up all the great questions out there in Facebook land. The album is Manic. It's been out now for a while. The guys are still touring out. They got a new tour in July starting in Detroit. I don't know the exact date, but out with 3 Days Grace and Zero, who's also going to be joining us on ShipRocked. The new live video you can find on YouTube or wherever you stream videos for Godspeed is out. Check it out. If you saw them on the Slipknot tour, you might be in it. Who knows? Stranger things.
You might.
Seth Briton, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it. Congrats on all the success. You guys well earned it. Please say hello to Bryce for me when you see him.
Will do.
Real quick, before we check off, guys, this show would not happen without several people from Ask For. That'd be our show producer, Al McManus, our show engineer, Jennifer Zito, our show coordinator, Heather Smith, and of course the captain, Alan Koenig. Guys, if you plan on joining us in January 2023, where you can see Wage War and many others like Parkway Drive, who we just announced the week before last, and Falling Reverse, and about 25 other really killer bands, go to ShipRocked.com and you can still pick up a cabin. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun, guys. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
We'll cross paths soon, hopefully. Take
Sounds
care.
good.
All righty.
See you again.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.